Well, a very, very good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of A Kick in the Balearics. Myself, Richie Martin and Martin Makepeace, looking at Balearic Football. I'm in Mallorca, Martin's in Ibiza. And how are you, Mark, first?
Good evening, Richie. How are you, mate? Yeah, good. Very good, thanks. Looking forward to the next weekend of football. It keeps coming, mate, doesn't it?
It does. Yes, so let's get straight into it. Because you said last week, your last words were, don't lose your first game of the season, whatever you do. What did we do? Lost our first game of the season.
Well, Richie, listening back to our Zoomcast last week, you were full of it, mate, weren't you? You were full of optimism, passion. And what happened, pal? Because it looked to me like you had a stinker.
Well, I think we start with the formation. I wasn't quite sure why. First of all, he didn't pick, our leading goal scorer last season in the La Liga, Budimir. You might say that, he was on international duty. That's true. But he picked Martin Valiente, who was centre-half, and he went off on international duty. There is a case that he might get transferred. So do they want him to get injured? But if he was on the bench and he had to come on the first minute, what difference does it make? For me, he's got to be starting. He has our leading goal scorer, proven track record. Put him on. And then, one of our driving force in midfield last year and particularly the year before, Salva Sevilla, he was on the bench as well. So I think everybody was a bit miffed, not miffed, but sort of scratching their heads a bit and going, why are our two best players or, arguably our two best players on the bench?
Well, I saw the highlights, Richie. It wasn't very pleasant, mate, really. After all that you were like, we've won the pre-season, we've done this, you were full of it, mate, weren't you? And
yeah.
It just shows that football can kick you in the bum, can't it? Because at the end of the day, they just didn't come to the party. I thought the keeper had a bit of a dodgy game, mate. He made a good save in the second half, but he didn't look like he was giving confidence to the players. I'm with you as well, mate. Budimir has to start. I know there's contractual problems there. I know he's looking for a move, but he's your big star. He's your big striker. And Salva Sevilla, he's your playmaker. So if you haven't got your number 10 and your number 9 in, mate, you're starting. You're not starting in the right way, in my opinion. So a poor game from Mallorca, and just puts the pressure on for this Saturday, doesn't it?
Yeah, another interesting point that we probably didn't talk about too much last week was that Rayo Vallecano did finish 7th last year, just outside the playoff places. But then they took on a guy called Adoni Iraola, who we've talked about before, because that was the man we thought was coming to Mallorca.
Yeah, no, you wanted him, didn't you, Richie? He was your guy. He was your first choice anyway, wasn't he? So, probably we missed that. And there might have been a bit of needle there because of that as well, mate. Maybe he's gone out all guns toting as well. So, something, mate, I just hope that Mallorca can put it behind them because, sometimes it doesn't work for you. I think you're right. He started an experimental formation, leaving out his two big players. Didn't work. But you've got Espanyol this weekend, which is a big match. And we've said it off camera, haven't we? You might be looking at 2 losses from 2 games and near the bottom of the league. And if that happens, the pressure is going to start on. Is it Garcia, your man, isn't it?
Yeah.
The pressure is going to start on Garcia. And who knows what will happen?
That's true. And, it's a crunch game. Obviously, everybody thinks Espanyol are the favourites to go back up. The team with the most money. They've got our ex-boss, Vicente Moreno. There's going to be incentive there for him to show, I'm better than you, if that makes sense. I hope our players will, put a bit of fight up. If you said to me today you can have a draw, I'd take it. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, you've got to get a point on the board, Richie. You've just got to get a point.
I agree.
We're talking about slim margins here, aren't we? We've got to get a point on the board. And also, you're right, Espanyol are the favourites. Are they still in court trying to overturn the relegation, Rich, or not?
No. That's Deportivo.
Depo.
Yeah. Espanyol probably. No, that wasn't Espanyol. Espanyol were down. That was fine.
So basically, you've got that added edge of Moreno being there as well, which I think. I'm really looking forward to this game, Richie. Can we watch this one live, mate? Because I've got.
I don't think so. I'm not sure. I think it might be on Movie Star, which I don't have, to be honest with you. And it's obviously if it's on Movie Star, then it's not normally being transmitted across online. And I haven't seen it advertised, for instance, like Ibiza or somebody like that would be taking it. So unless, one of those channels that we're not supposed to have on our boxes, young Martin.
I've got a feeling I might get it somewhere, mate. So
yeah, I'll be looking out for it as well. Yeah.
It's a cracker, Richie. It's a cracker.
Yeah, I agree.
Because of I think these two are our two top tips to go up as well, aren't they?
Yes, we both said that we think they'll both go up. So yeah, I think so.
I said Espanyol 1 and Mallorca 2. You said the other way around, obviously.
Yeah.
So this could be 1 and 2, or it could be 1 versus 22. I don't know, mate. So it
won't be that bad, Mark. Come on.
No. But also, I hope the owners don't panic as well. But it was such a poor game, Richie, and I was really hoping that Mallorca will win. But hey, football it just kicks you in the bum again, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Unfortunately, we've signed a couple of players actually.
Well, I saw that, mate. Yeah, a big announcement. Was it yesterday? About 2 hours after we spoke yesterday, I think. Yeah.
Jordi Mbola was one of the boys that's come in. I don't know too much about him, I'll be honest with you, because I've only just sort of basically seen it. And we also brought in the other day a Brazilian boy whose name escapes me right now, but they've got rid of a few players. Saliba's gone. Who else has gone? Buenacasa's gone. Valsace's gone. They're sort of trying to get rid of all the fringe players right now. Just let them out on a free. I think with Saliba, they just bought his contract up and said, right, you can go, mate. That's the situation we're in. Our squad's too heavy. We've got to get rid of players. But we needed to bring a couple in. And I know the manager had said last week that he needed left and right wingers. That's what he said he was looking for. So could be the case. Largo Junior might go. I think that's a possibility. We both know he blows hot and cold. So let's see. Well, I haven't heard too many. I mean, Valladolid are the team that in, but won't pay the money. Mallorca have said pay the money, 15 million. That's the release clause.
You're not going to get 15 million, Richie. I'm sorry, pal. You might get 5 or 6, but you're not going to get 15 million.
Well, I think they want more than 5 or 6. I think he's worth more than that. 13 goals in La Liga last season. I think if you get 10, maybe with add-ons, I think they'll probably take 10. I don't think they'll take 5 or 6.
What's Stoichkov like as a player, Richie?
Well, we talked about him. If you remember before, he was on loan at Alcorcon last year. Scored 18 goals.
Yeah.
He played midfield last week. I don't really know too much about him because I've not seen him play. Because obviously, when he was out on loan last year, he wasn't in the team, so I didn't see him. But everybody seems to rate him. Scoring 80 goals in this league is a pretty good return. So let's see. Let's hope he starts picking it up and we start getting some wins under our belt, because that's really, really important. And we talked about last week. I was really upbeat because I thought we've beaten 3 teams who were in our league quite comfortably, and we were going to push on, but unfortunately that wasn't the case. Let's move.
Well, Stoichkov, I didn't know a lot about Stoichkov, but I was very surprised to hear that his actual name is Juan Diego Molina Martinez. That's what I was very surprised about. He was Stoichkov's son or cousin or you. And obviously he's named after the famous Stoichkov, I would imagine.
I think so. Yeah. So we are looking at the start of Segunda B and Tercera. October the 18th is the date that's been penciled in. I think it's more pen than pencil, actually. You apparently, I've been told that you now know how this Segunda B works, Mark.
Well, I've got a big reveal, Richie, because we've been talking about Segunda B, haven't we, for a while, because we were pretty clueless. I downloaded the 15,000 words, believe it or not, 15,000 words to explain what it was all about. Segunda B and Tercera. And basically, I didn't know this. I think you knew it, Richie, that they're actually putting the reason why it's so complicated is because they're actually putting another level of football in. Another level of professional football in there, aren't they?
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, right now, because of the situation with COVID and how it all worked out, it was difficult to get some of the leagues finished. We ended up with 102 teams, which is why normally Segunda B would be 80 teams regionalised into 4 groups of 20. And that's how it used to work. We're now at 102 teams. So it's a lot more. So they've had to divide it up into groups and subgroups, of which, I think you're going to tell us now. And
I mean, I read through it. It took me about 3 hours, but basically, Richie, there's 5 groups. 102 teams in Segunda B, which is it's bizarre, really, isn't it? You know, the third level of Spanish football, you've got 102 teams. I think it's a good thing they're actually putting another level in there, you know, because the Spanish football deserves it. What happens, Rich, is the top 3 teams from the subgroup from each groups, yeah. So each groups have a subgroup, yeah, A and B. So the top 3 teams play each other, home and away, and then then basically the top 3 then go into a 30-team tournament. So the top they go so it goes into 30 teams, and basically that they make up it's going to be called the Primera RFEF, yeah. Which, when it's all said and done, the third tier of Spanish football will be now 40 teams, 2 leagues of 20, which I think is exactly right, by the way.
Yeah.
But what it does as well, Richie, I think, is it means the first 18 games of Segunda B are absolutely so important, because, you know, if you've got 40 games, you can have maybe 4 or 5 stinkers. But if you've got 18 games, which is what they're going to have before they go into these subgroups, then basically you're going to have a flyer. So really interesting, I think, especially for UD Ibiza from our island, because they've invested so much money. You know, we said in their playoff game, Richie, they can't have a stinker, they've got to come out. They are an absolute stinker. Imagine if they have 2 or 3 bad games at the start of the season. Heads will roll over here for sure. So just to go over it, the subgroups, the 20 in each league, the top 3 then play off, then the next 3 play off, and the bottom 4 play off as well. And they will then get divided into 3 leagues at the end of it, which will be known as Primera, Segunda, and Tercera. Okay. So we're gonna. I don't like this very much, Richie, because I think it's a marketing nightmare. So then Spain will have La Liga. Obviously, is the top tier with Barca and Madrid and all those big teams, and Valencia, and hopefully Real Mallorca. And then we have the Smart Bank. What's it called, mate? You know this one.
La Liga Smart Bank.
La Liga Smart Bank.
Which is La Liga 2.
Yeah, it's the second. And then the third tier is then called Primera, which is a strange one.
Yeah.
The fourth tier is Segunda, and the fifth tier is then called Tercera. So a little bit of a marketing disaster, in my opinion, but I think it's a welcome addition to the Spanish footballing system, that we've actually got an extra level. What they're saying is that, interestingly enough, the Spanish Football Federation is saying that the new third division of 40 teams will be professional. Yeah, they're not saying they're not saying the fourth tier is going to be professional, but they're saying the third tier is going to be professional. So we're going to have basically 4 professional leagues in Spain.
Interesting.
Boom, boom.
Boom, boom. There you go. I think what we will probably do is we'll wait till March. I think it begins October the 18th, finishes on March the 14th. That's the first phase. We'll get to that sort of stage, and then we'll start divvying it up a little bit better than that, and sort of giving you the rundown on who's going where and how they're going to do it.
Well, I think from October, we'll be reporting weekly on the results, so it'll be interesting. I think there's going to be a few surprises in store. I mean, UD Ibiza have got to be, an Atletico Balearic as well. They've got to be looking to get into that top tier. I think Penya and Poblense from your neck of the woods, I think if they stay in the second, which would be the Segunda, that would be job done for them. What they can't do is go down to Tercera.
Well, I think what's interesting, we probably didn't pick up this before, we were actually asking the question, why aren't all the Balearic teams in the same league? The basic reason for that is obviously if we had 4 teams in the same group, you know, we stand less of a chance of a Balearic team going up, really, to be perfectly honest. So we can't do it. So that's why you and Penya Dep are in one group, and us over this side, Atletico Baleares, and who's my other team? Oh yeah, UD Poblense. Poblense are in another group. So yeah, this is going to be interesting. It's different. It's, you know, something we're not used to, so we can get on with it.
Yeah, definitely, mate. Looking forward to the start of this, as I said, and with this little added that there's not 40 games, there's 18 games to play for to start with. Then they start the second phase. So 18 cup finals for all those teams.
18, yeah, exactly. And I think if I'm right in saying October the 18th, you guys, as in UD Ibiza start against Inter Madrid or something. Is
No,
that right?
you've got Inter Madrid. I think we've got Atletico Levante.
Oh, okay, that's right. Yes, sorry. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right.
And Atletico Balearics have got Inter Madrid, I believe.
Mm. Yeah, you're right. You're right. So it starts October the 18th. That second phase begins after March the 14th. As I say, we'll be giving you the results every week once it all starts, and then keeping you up to date with who's doing what in each league. Something that I think has gone under the radar this week, actually. UD Poblense played a friendly game against Atletico Balearics last weekend. It's for the Trofeo Casamis. It's Barcelona have something called the it's the Joan Gamper, I think, or something like that trophy that they play for. Barcelona actually played Arsenal last year. I was across in Barcelona watching that.
And Derby have the Derby Senior Cup as well, just to let you know.
Is that the trophy you win every year? The Derby Senior Cup.
Well, the Derby decides, you know.
who do you play?
Chesterfield.
Really? You know, all those, the well-known European teams, of course. Yeah. But anyway, what went under the radar was, in fact, they invited 1,000 fans into the game, which I thought was quite interesting. As far as I know, it all went fine. It was all very well organised. But it was nice to see fans back in the stadium, to be perfectly honest. If I don't know, I might have wanted to go along. I think they gave it to season ticket holders, to be perfectly honest. But it's good to see.
We had a friendly at the weekend of our juvenile, the under 18s, I think, isn't it? Juvenile
18s,
yeah. And it was versus Penya. It was SD Portman versus Penya, and all the lads went down. So it was their first. I wasn't there, so I don't know where they were in the stadium, whatever. But they got in and watched the game. So it's starting to happen slowly and surely, isn't it, Rich? People are starting to be let back in again. We know we're in the middle of this kind of soup at the moment. We're in a bit, but we need to see some football, mate. We need some good news. We need to see football. So hopefully we'll get back in that stadium as soon as possible.
Yeah, definitely. I'll see. Any UD news for us? Any UD Ibiza news?
No, nothing really, mate. It's a bit quiet at the moment. They unveiled Joshua Perez, rather. I told you about him last week or the week before. The official unveiling was yesterday or the day before. So that was it, really. He's a American guy. He's had some experience in Serie A as well. So he's only a little fella, little Maradona-esque, Messi-esque as well. Let's hope he's half the player that Maradona and Messi is, and we'll be in for some fun. So that really, Penya haven't really.
I've got a couple of names for you, actually. David Sanchez has just signed for Penya. Central midfielder from Cornelia.
Yeah, no, and they've re-signed someone today or yesterday from
Pipo.
Sorry?
Pipo, he's called.
Pipo, yeah, he's come back from Formentera, so he was at Penya.
So let's talk another couple of bits of Atletico news. First of all, Scottish under-21 international Jordan Holsgrove, who was on loan from Reading last year at Atletico Balearics. He's just signed a 2-year deal with Celta, who play in La Liga, of course, although he's going to be playing for Celta B, their B team.
Okay. I always like to see the young British people in the Spanish football, mate, because
it's good.
It's just a bit of interest, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, and he had quite a good season actually. They wouldn't let him stay after the lockdown. He had to go back, unfortunately. They wouldn't let him stay. I don't know if that was a reason that Balearics completely flunked in the playoffs, but it would have been nice to see him, have an opportunity to play in the playoffs, but he didn't. But he's going there. Seems like a good deal for him. So
I wonder what a young British guy would want to stay in Mallorca for.
Yeah. Well, now he's in Celta. He's up in the north, so north of Spain. No, I was going to say, might be making a few trips over to the islands, maybe a little bit later on. And Balearics have signed another boy. He's called Vinicius Tanque. Now, I won't say the Tank, exactly. I was going to say, what's his nickname? He's nicknamed the Tank. He's a bit of a bruiser, actually, to be perfectly honest. I know you've got a bit of a bruiser in UD Ibiza, and
we've got Sibo. We've got Sibo, who's a Ghanaian international, and he's a bruiser, by the way. 6'4", built like a brick outhouse. He's your perfect Plan B player.
Yeah, it looks like this could be a similar situation. He's come from Cartagena. He helped Cartagena go up last year to La Liga 2, so they'll be the same division as Mallorca. So let's hope. Balearics have failed at the playoff stage for the last 2 seasons, so it's third time lucky, hopefully for them.
Yeah, I'd love to see I'd love to see Atletico Baleares and Real Mallorca in the same league again, mate. We all want that again, don't we? So
yeah, it'll be tremendous. They played each other in Segunda B a few years ago, and that was quite tasty. Let's put it like that. Particularly the game in Mallorca, definitely. But let's see. The other thing I wanted to talk about also was the government over here. I don't know if they've offered this to Ibiza and Menorca as well, but the government over here have offered a subsidy to families of kids between the ages of 6 and 16, where they can help them with the payments they need to make to their sporting teams that they join. So
just football, Richie, or just football?
No. It's any sport between 6 and 16, boy or girl. It doesn't matter. So it could be tennis, I think, hockey. I don't know if there's a list because I didn't actually go into much detail because obviously we only did it in the case of our 2 boys playing football. So I don't know. Let's see. I think it's quite a nice little thing for the government to do, and
encourages kids into sport. Richie, I think is a really good thing.
I agree, and I think we've talked about this before. Right now, for kids, who've had 6 months off school, this is the thing. This is going to help their physicality. It's going to help their mentality and their sociability as well. That's really, really important.
Are your boys back training, Richie?
Yeah, my oldest has been back 2 weeks now. He's done 2 weeks. My youngest starts goalkeeper training next week. We'll start full training again on the 28th of September, barring, of course, any changes, which we know are on a daily basis. But we keep our fingers crossed. I think I've seen quite a lot of movement in quite a lot of clubs over the last few days. There's a lot of protocols in place, but the clubs seem to have got it down to a T right now. It's a shame we're not allowed in to watch training. Don't you find? I mean, I'm the same. Don't you? Aren't you a bit nervous? Because I always like to watch my kids train because then I get a handle of how they're playing and how they're preparing. When I'm not there, I'm slightly nervous that they're not doing the right things. About you? Yeah, listen, I like to watch training. I don't watch all training sessions. I do like to go. Yeah, you're right, because obviously if they're not putting it in, you can see they're not putting it in. And obviously you can tell them. If I'm not watching, I'm down the gym, Mark. I know you
are, mate.
Yeah. So,
question: Are there parents for your boys' teams who never miss a training session?
A couple, but not many actually. A lot of the Spanish don't stay for training. I find that quite surprising, actually. Yeah, there's a few dads that do, but majority of them don't stay. They just sort of drop them off. And a lot of the parents obviously live locally. I don't live locally, as you know. I'm sort of 20 minutes, half an hour away. So I'm not going to go back, which is why I'm off down the old gym, Mark.
I can see, man. By the way,
you can tell. Look,
you're looking very trim, mate. Have you had a haircut?
No, I'm just losing it, mate. That's it. Anyway, listen, I think we'll leave it there. Good luck to all our teams, particularly Real Mallorca this weekend. Of course, they're away in Espanyol. It's not going to be easy.
Come on, Mallorca. Come on.
We need at least a draw, please. Yeah, and as the dusk settles here in Mallorca, we'll bid you good night, and we'll speak to you next week.
Cheers, Richie. Always a pleasure.
Cheers, mate. Take care.